Daf Yomi, Tractate Bava Metzia, page 46a, top of the page with the words V'chozer ve'omer, etc. And then he says, this second tithe produce that now belongs to you is hereby desacralized on coins that I have at home. The Gemara infers the reason that it is necessary to employ this artifice is that he does not have coins in his hand. But if he has coins in his hand, let him transfer ownership of the coins to the other person by means of the transaction of pulling. And then that other person will desacralize the second tithe produce, Meiser Sheni produce. The reason for this is that this procedure is preferable, as the one who desacralizes the produce is a stranger, not the owner of the produce. Therefore, it appears less like artifice designed to circumvent paying the additional 1/5. The Gemara continues to state its objection to the opinion of Rav Papa. And if you say a coin is acquired by means of a transaction of exchange, then even if the owner of the produce has no money in his hand, let the owner transfer ownership of the coins, wherever they are, to the other person by means of a cloth, as he can perform the transaction of symbolic exchange with the cloth, and then let the other person desacralize the produce. The Gemara answers, the case in the Braita is one in which he does not have a cloth. The Gemara challenges, and let the owner transfer ownership of the coins to the other person by means of land, meaning perform an act of transaction concerning the land and include the coins in the transaction. The Gemara answers, the case in the Braita is one in which he does not have land. Okay. The Gemara asks, but isn't it taught in the Braita that he is standing on the threshing floor? The ha'omed begorin katani. The Gemara answers, he is standing on a threshing floor that is not his. The Gemara asks, and did the Tana go to all the trouble just to teach us the case of a naked man, one who has nothing at all? Well, the case of a naked man will be there, so. And it is unlikely that a Braita will be devoted to so remote a case. Rather, one must not conclude from it that money is not acquired by means of a transaction of exchange. Rather, must one not conclude from it that money is not acquired by means of a transaction of exchange? The Gemara affirms, learn from it, that this is the halacha. The Gemara relates, and even Rav Papa retracted his previous statement that coins are acquired by means of a transaction of exchange, is in this incident in which Rav Papa had 12,000 dinars that he lent to another in Bei Hozai. He transferred ownership of the dinars to his agent, Rav Shmuel Bar Acha, by means of granting acquisition of the threshold of his house to him, to enable the agent to demand repayment of the loan on his own behalf. This obviated the need for him to consult Rav Papa in the case of every contingency, which would complicate matters. It is apparent from the fact that the transaction was effected by means of granting acquisition of the threshold that Rav Papa concedes that coins are not acquired by means of a transaction of exchange. When Rav Shmuel Bar Acha came after repayment of the loan, Rav Papa was so pleased that he went out as far as Tevach to meet him. Tevach, wherever that is. Okay? Somewhere in Babylonia. Babylonia. Babel to be by Babylonia. Okay? The Gemara adds, And likewise, Ula says money cannot be the item used to effect the transaction by means of exchange. And likewise, Ravasi says money cannot be the item used to effect the transaction by means of exchange. And likewise, Rabbi Bar Chana says that Rabbi Yochanan says money cannot be the item used to effect the transaction by means of exchange. Rabbi Ava raised an objection to the opinion of Ula from a Braita with regard to one whose donkey drivers or laborers were demanding payment for their wages from him in the marketplace. And he said to the money changer, "Give me coins worth a dinar, and I will provide them. I will provide for them. And later I will give you coins worth a dinar and a teresit, a coin of lesser value, from money that I have at home." Then, if he has money at home, at that time it is permitted, as it is not considered a loan, and therefore the additional payment is not interest. But if he does not have money at home at that time, it is a loan, and the additional payment is forbidden as interest. And if it enters your mind that money cannot be the item used to effect a transaction by means of exchange, then even in the case where the employer had money at home, since the money changer does not acquire the employer's money at home by means of exchange, it is a loan, and the additional payment is forbidden as interest. Ula was silent. Rabbi Abba then said the following suggestion to Ula: perhaps the sages taught this halacha in a case where both these coins that are in his house and those coins that he took from the money changer are perotetot, small prutot that are unminted, and the legal status of both these coins and those coins is that of a commodity, and due to that status they are acquired by means of a transaction of exchange. Ula said to him, "Yes, that is the case of the Braita, and the language of the Braita is also precise, as it teaches, I will give you coins worth a dinar and a teresit. And it does not teach, I will give you an unflawed dinar and a teresit." Evidently, the Braita is not referring to his giving an actual dinar coin, but to other coins of lesser value that equal that value. The Gemara affirms, learn from it, that this is the case. Rav Ashi said, actually, it can be explained that there is no transaction by means of exchange in this case. Rather, it is a purchase with money, and the Tana is referring to protetot. And nevertheless, there is no violation of the prohibition against interest. Since he has money at home, it is tantamount to saying, "Lend me money until my son comes, or until I find the key." That is not a loan, and the halachot of interest do not apply. The Gemara suggests coming to hear a proof from a Mishnah, Kedushin 28a, with regard to all items used as monetary value for another item, meaning instead of a buyer paying money to the seller, they exchange items of value with each other. Once one party in the transaction acquires the item he is receiving, this party is obligated with regard to the item being exchanged for it. The Gemara analyzes this Mishnah with regard to all items used as monetary value for another item. What does the Mishnah mean in this phrase? It means a coin. And learn from the Mishnah that a coin can be an item used to effect exchange. Rabbi Yehuda said, this is what the Mishnah is saying.